The infant gorilla doesn't cry. He doesn't move. He just lies curled beneath a blood-stained leaf, tiny chest rising in shallow gasps. Flies buzz around the remains of what used to be his troop. A man kneels beside him, sunburned, mud-caked, and trembling. He's seen many things in the jungle, but never this. He reaches for the small bundle of fur. The baby flinches, but barely. The man wraps him in a flannel shirt, cradling him like a child. There's no mother, no protection, no future, unless he gives him one. That moment changes everything. The man, Simon, is a field conservationist stationed deep in the Congolese jungle. He names the infant Koro, which means shadow. For weeks, Koro won't eat, won't sleep, just stares at the wall of his temporary shelter with hollow eyes. The man stays up every night, singing softly, warming bottles over a flame, offering one drop at a time. Then, one morning, Koro grips the bottle. Hope begins. Koro clings to Simon's arm when he walks, climbs into his cot at night, learns to mimic his gestures, tapping fingers, blinking slowly, tilting his head when curious. Simon journals everything. He laughs when I pretend to fall, one entry reads. He hides my boots under leaves. Another, he's starting to hum. 2 years pass. Koro grows fast, stronger, smarter, bolder. He bounds through trees, bangs, sticks together like drums. When Simon is sick with fever, Koro sits beside him and places a palm on his chest, silent, worried. Their bond is undeniable, not keeper and animal. Family, but nothing in the wild stays still. A letter arrives from the International Foundation. Koro is ready. The rewilding program has approved his transfer to the protected forest, where other semi-rehabilitated gorillas live. It's time. Simon reads the words 10 times, then folds the letter and stares out into the trees. The next morning he packs Koro's crate. Inside is a cloth soaked with Simon's scent. A half-chewed wooden toy, a picture, a photo Simon doesn't expect Koro to understand, but includes anyway. Koro resists the crate at first. He beats his fists once, lets out a low grunt. Simon kneels, places his forehead to Koro's. No cages after this, he whispers. Just trees, just freedom. The truck pulls away. Simon watches it vanish into the green. The jungle is quiet now. His mornings are silent. His arms feel empty, the cot too wide, the shelter too clean. Koro is gone. But every so often Simon swears he hears it, faint, carried by the wind. A soft hum, the sound of a memory too deep to forget. The jungle doesn't welcome him at first. Koro steps from the crate with cautious limbs, head low, chest puffed in false bravado. The trees loom large. The troop nearby watches him in silence. Rehabilitated gorillas like him, raised in the shadows of poaching and loss. They don't approach, they wait. Koro doesn't understand them, not yet. For the first few days, he lingers near the human checkpoint, where the smells are familiar, the structures solid. He ignores the fruit piles left in the trees. He mimics the calls, but gets no response. One night, he sits alone beneath a log, holding the piece of cloth Simon left with him. He hums. A week later, something changes. He joins a grooming circle, briefly. No growling, no shoving, just quiet acceptance. He shares a nest with a younger female. They eat side by side. He begins to explore. The rewilding team documents everything through distant drone footage. They're careful. No human contact, no names spoken aloud. But they watch in awe. He's adapting. Simon receives updates sparingly, data charts, satellite pings, occasional still frames. One arrives by courier. Koro crouched near a stream, chewing a reed, eyes alert. Simon stares at the photo for hours. He looks older, he whispers. Months pass. Koro rises in the troop's hierarchy. Dominant males challenge him, but he stands his ground. Once he breaks up a fight between 2 juveniles with a loud chest beat and a sharp vocalization. The behaviorist report reads, "Exhibit signs of leadership." Simon reads it twice. The ache in his chest is bittersweet. He's thriving, Ravi tells him via satellite call. You should be proud. Simon nods, forcing a smile. I am. But pride and peace are not the same thing. One night, after a supply run, Simon returns to his field tent and finds a printed still from trail cam footage tucked under a clipboard. He flips it over, black and white, low res. Coro, staring directly into the lens, still, calm, eyes focused, as if looking for something. Simon flips the photo face down. I'm not supposed to visit, he tells himself. That's the rule. But deep in the wild, Coro remembers. He hoots softly some nights while grooming alone, a rhythm none of the others respond to. He taps fingers against fallen logs in a certain pattern. No one joins in. It doesn't matter. He keeps doing it. Memory doesn't need permission. Far away, Simon walks the forest edge of a new project zone, hundreds of miles from the release site. He listens to the trees. He can't see Coro, but he knows. Somewhere out there under the same canopy they once shared. His shadow still moves. The call comes just after sunrise. A production crew has arrived in the border region of the reserve, filming a documentary on jungle conservation. Simon, now assigned to consult on camera placement, is flown in by helicopter. He hasn't been this close to Coro's habitat in years. No one knows he's here, and he tells no one why his hands won't stop shaking. The first 2 days pass in routine, equipment, notes, interviews. But on the third morning, something breaks the pattern. A sound, low, rhythmic, familiar. Simon freezes mid-step, one boot pressed into wet soil. That hoot, he knows it. It's not from the local troop, it's not random. He turns toward the tree line. Another sound follows, closer, deliberate. Then a crack of branches. The forest stills. A flash of black fur slips between vines. Simon's radio buzzes, but he doesn't hear it. His pulse is louder. His fingers twitch at his sides. And then he steps into view. Kaijo, bigger than memory. A silverback now. Chest broad, arms longer than Simon remembered, eyes dark, focused, and locked on him. The film crew spots him from a distance and goes silent. Cameras roll, but no one speaks. Simon doesn't move. Kaijo does. He charges, powerful, fast, thundering across the clearing. Everyone screams. Simon doesn't. He drops to his knees. Kaijo skids to a halt just feet away, dirt flying, fists clenched. Their eyes meet. And nothing happens. For one long second, it's just silence. Then Kaijo tilts his head slightly, left, then right. His nostrils flare. His massive frame rises and falls with each breath. And then he lets out a soft, broken grunt, the sound Simon taught him years ago, a baby's call. Simon exhales sharply. His lips part, but no words come. Kaijo takes a single step forward and lowers himself. On all fours now, he crawls toward Simon slowly. No threat, no confusion, just deliberate movement. He stops inches away, then presses his forehead to Simon's. The forest holds its breath. The crew behind the camera begins to cry. Simon places his hand on Kaijo's massive shoulder. You remember, he whispers. Kaijo lets out another grunt, softer this time. He presses closer. They stay like that, man and gorilla, still and fused by time. Minutes pass. Kaijo finally leans back. He doesn't roar, doesn't display. He just watches, quiet. A wild creature, yes, but not a stranger, not anymore. Then he does something no one expects. He places a hand over Simon's, then rises, and walks away into the trees. But before vanishing, he glances back. One last time. The cameras catch everything, but no footage will ever capture what Simon feels in that moment. Not science, not instinct, something else, something remembered. The video hits the internet 2 days later. No narration, no edits, just raw footage. A silverback gorilla charging toward a kneeling man, then stopping, resting his forehead against the humans, then walking away. Within hours, it goes viral. Viewers across the globe sit in stunned silence, watching and rewatching the same impossible moment. He remembered. That wasn't instinct, that was love. I've never cried over a gorilla before. News anchors struggle to describe what the world has seen. Scientists debate it on live TV. Primatologists dissect every movement, every sound, every breath. But one thing is clear, this wasn't an accident. This was reunion. In a studio half a world away, Simon sits under harsh lights, microphones clipped to his shirt. He looks uncomfortable, but not afraid. "How did you know he wouldn't hurt you?" the host asks. Simon pauses, then says quietly, "Because I remembered him the way he remembered me." The clip gets millions of views. Kaijo, once a rescued orphan, now a symbol of loyalty and intelligence, becomes a global icon. People send letters, gifts, messages in every language. A child from Japan writes, "I hope you visit your gorilla friend again. He missed you." At the reserve, the staff installs a screen in the education center, playing the reunion on loop. Below it, a sign reads, "Not forgotten, just waiting." Simon doesn't visit the camera crews again, but he returns to the forest alone, quietly. No camera, no crew. Just him and the trail. He finds the clearing again where it happened. The tree they sat beneath, the space between them. He kneels there again. This time, Kaijo doesn't appear. But Simon doesn't need him to. He just sits with the memory. Somewhere in the reserve, Kaijo is thriving. He leads his troop. He teaches the young ones how to strip bark, how to groom properly, how to hoot just so. He is strong, healthy, proud. But once in a while, when the forest goes still, he hums. The same sound from years ago, the lullaby that used to echo from a cot beside a man with a flannel shirt and a warm bottle. In the documentary's final scene, Simon's voice narrates over still footage of their meeting. You never think they'll remember, you never dare to hope, but sometimes they do more than remember. Sometimes they wait. Years pass. The jungle grows thicker, trails fade, faces change. But the story of the man and the gorilla doesn't disappear. It lingers, retold in classrooms, whispered during sanctuary tours, etched into conservation lectures around the world. Simon no longer works in the field. He teaches now, young students with wide eyes and notebooks full of questions. When they ask about Kaijo, his expression softens. He was more than a gorilla, he says. He was my shadow, my son, my teacher. Across the world, the footage of their reunion continues to circulate. It's shown in documentaries, museums, even international summits on animal cognition. Experts, once skeptical, now speak with reverence. This wasn't just emotion, one says. It was continuity, a connection that survived time, distance, and species. Kaijo remains protected, still roaming the dense interior of the reserve. Drones spot him occasionally, larger now, older, but still the leader of his group. One recent image shows him resting in a clearing, surrounded by juveniles. They copy his movements, follow his calls. They call him father, and in a way, he is. Because Kaijo isn't just a product of nature, he's a product of love. One morning, years after the world stopped watching, Simon returns to the forest one last time. No camera, no crew, just him and a notebook. He doesn't expect to see Kaijo. He knows better now. The wild belongs to the wild. But he walks the old trail anyway, finds the same tree, sits on the same moss-covered rock. He reads from his journal stories of nights by the fire, of baby laughter, of first steps and shared bananas. He speaks as if Kaijo is listening, and maybe he is. Because just as Simon prepares to leave, a soft call echoes in the distance. Not loud, not close, but unmistakable. A hoot, familiar, measured, matched to his breath. Simon freezes, smiles, doesn't follow. He just closes his notebook and whispers, "I know, old friend. I remember too." That's enough, because the greatest bonds don't always need to be seen again to be real. They don't end. They echo. And in the heart of the jungle, they never stop calling back. Some connections don't fade. They wait. Across years, across forests, across species, they hold their breath in the silence between separation and reunion. Kaijo didn't just remember Simon. He recognized love, not as a memory, but as a home. And when their paths crossed again, it wasn't by chance. It was a promise fulfilled, one heartbeat at a time. This story isn't just about a gorilla. It's about what happens when you give your heart to something wild, and it gives it back. Drop a comment. Have you ever had an animal remember you after years apart? Like this video if Kaijo's story changed how you see loyalty, memory, and the wild. Share it with someone who believes love doesn't need words to last forever. Subscribe for more stories that remind us. Sometimes the strongest bonds are the ones we let go of and still find again.